What time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, he's back from the dead. Your show. Putting it on the map, yeah. Saskatoon. Right next to New York. New York. Yeah, what show, yeah. Your show. What time is it? Your show. Yeah, time to talk some shit, yeah. Your show.
You've tuned in, yeah?
Yeah, von Maggie. Bark, bark, wolf, wolf, who wants a treat, yeah? Keep listening.
Hello and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Your Show. My name is Gary. I am your busty host. And as far as we know, we are still, to this day, the only live show on YouTube from 4 to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday in the beautiful city of Saskatoon. Thank you so much for taking some time to visit and hang out with us. We also love making up categories through YouTube and say we are number one in said category. Like, for instance, today, we could say we are the number one show on YouTube that has gone into a show without confirming whether either of the guests who start the show will be able to join. Ooh, that's what we call the cliffhanger. But more important than anything, I'm so excited to share this with you because if you're allergic to cute nommies, then you best leave the room because this is one of the cutest Maggie Cams we have ever had in the history of Maggie Cam kind. Let's go ahead and check in now there, Phenom. Look at that. Look at that dog. Are you kidding me? The puppy dream is going on right now in that beautiful puppy brain. I can only imagine. I don't want to talk to that to wake her up. The Maggie Cam for our fantastic friends over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer, Mike and Rochelle, along with Margaret's beautiful boyfriend, Leroy, always there to give you the greatest experience you will ever have inside of a pet store. And if you go after hours during the week or on the weekends, Kirsten, Shar, and Chris will be there to continue to give you that service you know and love from our friends over at Pet Planet on 8th Street. But I'm telling you right now, the reason this dog can sleep so good is because everything she needs, she gets from Pet Planet on 8th Street. Look at her. Man, we should get one of those live. You know how they get those live cams set up when there's like birds, like bald eagles about to hatch off the side of cliffs? We should get like a sideshow of just the Maggie Cam. So you could watch like split screen of what's going on with the show as well as continue to take in this. This is like puppy therapy right here. You look at that and you say, yep, that's probably the cutest thing I've ever seen. All right, we better get away from that Phenom as it's too cute for me. Say hello, by the way. We are also the number one show only ran by a human hand, which is very cool. You'll see the hand pop up every now and then. I like to say it's basically Adam's Family Rules around here. Not like Cousin It, but like The Thing, I think he's called. Not to be confused with The Thing from Fantastic Four and all the other things, and there's Swamp Things. There's all sorts of things, but our Thing is the best because he's just a hand. I don't even know how he operates in there, but he tends to power through. So I mentioned off the top with our categories, today's category is we don't know if we have Adrian the Canadian, a.k.a. Coach Number One, all the way on the other side of the world in the land down under. We don't know if Coach Mazer is coming by. We got one. We got 1.5. What was it? The Phenom just got very scared there. You okay, bud? It's funny watching a hand get scared like that. I like to say it's sort of like the hamburger helper, one of the greatest meals of all time. Their mascot. That's basically who he is. So we do have one, is what it's looking like. So we will head now to the land down under. Fire up the... Oh, who sings it? Men at Work? Fire up the Men at Work. Get your Vegemite going. Pour yourself a nice Foster's beer. Play some knifey spoony with our good buddy, Coach Number One. Oh, hold on. Watch this. The transmitter. I always forget to do the transmitter. I got it. Adrian, say something sweet. Tell everyone what's going on.
Say something sweet. Good laugh, Gary, because when I logged on, you were talking about being the number one show with no guests showing up yet. I've got a new routine because I have to drop Ryan off at school because we have the time savings. So I tell Ryan we got to leave at 8:30, and we left at 8:37 today, and then rush back in here, get here just in time, and so I had a little bit of a giggle to kick off. So thanks for that.
Well, I appreciate everything about that statement because I was worried. I wasn't sure what we were going to do with the segment that now that you're going through the time change, because it, like you said, it basically throws a wrench in your entire routine. So it's great to hear that you've powered through and you got something sort of figured out there, hey?
So, remember when you couldn't hear me a
Yes.
couple months ago?
Don't tell me you
I
can't
can't
hear me.
hear you now.
You can't hear me. So I can hear you perfectly, and now you can't hear me. This is going to be something new. Okay. Well, with that in mind, and we always talk about the importance of being a live show, this stuff always happens, and this is what we embrace because it keeps everything real. I don't know what we can do because that will be an engineer issue, and we only have the Phenom running the board, and we don't. I don't. Is there a button you can switch or anything in there? Anything we can try?
I'm almost not worried if you can't hear me. I'm more worried about all the listeners out there if they can hear you.
Okay. Well, we can hear you and we can hear myself here. So the Phenom says he can hear both of us in his thing. So that makes me think that there's probably some sort of gremlins. How about, I wonder if I can mouth this to you. Is there any way you can understand my enunciating right now?
Is there any way, fill in the blank right now?
That was good. Okay. Take a couple of minutes and tell the world what you've been up to over the last week before we let you go.
No, I didn't get any of that.
Dang it. You know, if I had my pen, I could write on here. I wish there was a better way to do this. Oh, here we go. Watch this. Okay.
Oh,
Don't you worry.
Yes.
And the funny part is that everyone can hear us right now.
Okay.
So that is
You're
good.
gonna write something down.
Yeah. Take the.
I feel like we're playing a game.
We are. We totally are. And this
It's a talk show.
I imagine this being humorous to the viewer right now.
Jimmy Fallon, didn't he put headphones on people?
Yes.
And they would have to guess what the other person was singing. I don't know.
What you are up to. All right, here we go.
All right, let's see what you.
It's going to be good.
You're gonna show me what you're writing here. Okay, pull it back a little bit. It's blurry.
Come on.
No, it's too blurry now.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Hold it there. Take the next 10 minutes to tell us what you are up to. All right.
Yes.
What are we up to? Well, yesterday was had my monthly lunch with Adrian the Canadian. Their monthly virtual events where different leaders from across Australia, anybody in Canada is welcome to join. And we talked about what makes a great teammate. And we kicked it off with a discussion about Tom Brady, because recently one of Tom Brady's ex-teammates, Baker something, is he the quarterback of Tampa Bay right now?
Baker Mayfield.
Yes, Baker Mayfield. Thank you. I got that. Learning a new skill today, lip reading. So Baker Mayfield recently said in the media how, you know, obviously they won with him there, with Tom Brady there, but he said that like everybody was always tense and it was just always a high pressure environment with Tom Brady. So then Tom Brady came back with, well, if people were here to have fun, maybe they should go to Disneyland. So it was quite interesting to look at the two different perspectives where you had Mayfield talking about how he was brought in to lighten it up, to have a little bit more fun. And whereas, I mean, Tom Brady, I did a little bit of research on him, 7 Super Bowls. There is no NFL franchise that has 7 Super Bowls. So that's pretty impressive. But so what makes a better teammate? Is it somebody who has that high of expectations that just demands the absolute best from everybody all the time? Or do you want somebody who's a little bit lighthearted, or is there something there in between? So I thought that was it was a really interesting discussion perspective to look at. So that's, and the other thing too is within a sporting, is it different in sport than it is, say, in an office environment or in a podcast environment? Do you want somebody like what was that the video that went around about Connor McDavid? on game 7 where he's losing his marbles, which, was pretty cool, I thought. But it's probably a good example where I don't see sport and let's call it the office environment being the same. There's always a lot of parallels drawn. So I don't know, Gary, what do you think?
I'll tell you, and I'll try to enunciate this very well. I personally will take the guy who has 6 championships. If you have 6 championships, I'm doing it your way. I'm not going to do it with the guy who's throwing a party and having fun.
I didn't. Yeah, I
I
couldn't
know
read
you
your
can't
lips.
hear.
I think
know
that was
you-
more for the benefit
So,
of your listeners.
6 titles. Tom Brady has a
Hold on here. I'm
ring,
gonna try something different.
ring. The rings.
Rings.
Give me Tom Brady all day.
Ooh. Okay. Well, so would you want Tom Brady in there with you every day, bringing that level of intensity?
As long as I get another ring. Yes.
As
If-
long as you get another ring.
Yes. If we're not winning, get him out of there and bring in Baker.
All righty. Cool. Anyway, so that was yesterday. So it was quite an interesting. Now, just so you know, I can hear you now in the last 20 seconds. That's why I understood what you said.
Well, that's good. Then we can hang out a little more. This makes me
Yes.
very happy. Okay. So with that in mind, am I crazy to not want the fun work environment if I imagine it would sort of carry over to the same as, yeah, my job sucks, but look at all this money we're making. Like the classic trope of, do you want to hate your job but go and do everything you want in the world with all the money? Or do you want to love your job every day but not make the big cake?
Well, that's the choice you make.
And now, as a professional in this field, what do you think the smarter choice is?
Okay, so if you look at all the motivational speakers on TikTok, they're like, do both, right? Follow your passion. I mean that's what I love doing, but I'm not making squillions of money like Tom Brady. So
Yeah.
I think so. My advice when I'm working with groups is you've got to make sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of what's expected.
Yeah.
And there will be people, there'll be a certain environment, and if certain people don't like that, I think what ends up happening is they hang around too long and they feel like, oh, I've got to stick around because I need this, need that. I need to keep this job. The reality is there's lots of jobs elsewhere, and there's other environments that are probably more suited to an individual's preferences, what keeps them at their best. And sometimes we just feel like we're stuck. So there's 2 things. One, make sure the team is aligned on what type of environment is going to get the best of the group. And 2, if that doesn't work for you, that's all right. There's something else out there for you.
See, now what if I throw number 3 at you and say, what if you are in a business or a group or a team where no one else is doing what you're doing, say a content creation studio that you don't have any other place to go because you're the only one doing it? Then what do you do?
So as the business or as the individual?
Both.
Oh, gee.
Sorry to
don't know
put you
if I
to work
understand.
this morning over there.
You are putting me to work. Well, as a business, you've got to make sure you've got the right people. So is there only one person, if they don't fit the organization in terms of they don't bring the right behaviors, then to me, that is the thing that's what will kill teams the most is the behaviors. So
And then-
if you're a leader, you've got to manage that properly. And if they don't, again, if those individuals' behaviors don't fit with what you want, then that's okay. You'll find somebody else. And probably for that other individual, that's probably not the right place for them either.
And if it's a team, like a pro sports team, a lot of times those leaders will take it upon themselves. Like I think of the Evander Kane incident when he was in Winnipeg. And the boys sort of said, dude, you can't keep doing what you're doing. You're out of control. Like, you're hurting our team with your actions. He's like, oh, yeah, whatever. I'm just doing my thing. So they literally took all of his clothes, threw him in the shower, and said, no, we're going to take charge here because no one else will, and you don't listen. So it sort of was settled in-house, and then like a day later, he was traded. So a lot of times, I guess they work themselves out if you have a true good leader. I think it was Dustin Bufflin that did that back in the day. But would that sort of
and
be a good
probably
example?
great example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great example of the team taking control of how the team does teamwork versus just the leader, i.e., the boss, the coach, the GM.
Yeah.
I'd spoken with, when it comes to sport, again, I think there's a little bit of a difference there, but I was speaking with a guy who played shortstop for the Aussie national team. He holds the record, all-time record for Australian Baseball League for least strikeouts in a season.
Nice.
And he was in charge of the high performance program here in Victoria. And he said, I always have, I need to have, hold on, there we go. I need all my players to reach this bar. And sometimes that bar is made up of 99% attitude and 1% talent. And sometimes it's the other way. It's 99% talent and 1% attitude. But as long as they reach that bar I need them to be at, I can work with them.
I like that.
I thought that was cool.
See, and those are sort of like, if you're going to be in that position, you'll know way before you ever get hired that that's the type of person that you're looking for. Like, it's not like you have to go far to find someone like that because they would stand out so much on their path to that position. So with that in mind, I really like the idea of knowing exactly what you're looking for and not letting anyone sway you in a different direction. And I also, it makes me wonder a lot about how is it worth it to carry sort of cancer guys or bad locker room guys with a team? Like, as we always say, there's a point, like they can get away with enough because they do so much on the ice or on the field. But do you find there's still a lot of that in sports? Because it feels like more and more nowadays, there's less guys getting called out by their team. There's less guys sort of acting up. And I feel like we sort of got away from that path where the individual always could get away with being the way they are because they were so good at what they did.
Yeah, I think within sport, I think there's definitely that. And I go back to that stories. If they reach a certain line, if they can deliver, like make an impact to a certain point,
Yeah.
there's this trade-off.
That's the
talent.
trade-off. Yes.
Yes, the trade-offs for that. I mean, Dennis Rodman's probably the perfect example. And if you watch the Bulls documentary where he just, disappear off to Vegas with Carmen for 3 or 4 days and go on big benders and then come back and pull in 24 rebounds
Dominate.
and help the Bulls win rings.
Yep. And I guess if Michael Jordan's okay with you, then you're good. That's the other thing I learned. If MJ wants you there, then you can go and do whatever you want.
Yep, that's right. There's, so you look at the elites like him and Tom Brady. I think there'd be something there where they just have that high level of commitment, but they also expect it and demand it from the rest of their teammates.
Now, do you think Tom Brady was that way before New England and before Belichick and before like the Patriots way sort of was ingrained into him? Or do you think that was something, because you have to have a little bit of that in you, right? Like you can't just have someone say this is how you have to be now and say, okay, here I go.
So what I've read about Tom Brady was that like when he came in as a second or third string quarterback is that he would talk about how even if he got in for one snap during training, he would treat that snap as if it was the Super Bowl. Yeah. Like he went in there and busted his chops for 120%. I think that's something that's in you. That's an attitude. That's a mindset. The ability to then expect that from others, I think that builds over time and also with confidence.
Yeah.
You come in with the rookie and expect that. I don't know how well respected that would be or well welcomed.
Well, and the big thing with Tom Brady too is he was the last pick of the draft. He was literally the last guy picked in his draft year. It was like a throwaway pick. They call him Mr. Irrelevant. And a lot of people, 199. There it is. And a lot of people say that's the biggest motivator right there. That's all you need, man. Mm. Every single team passed on you every single time until no other team could even decide to take you. But one did. And there he goes.
See,
Hey,
but I think that approach works well in pro sports. Now, I'm not sure how that would go over with the Rhinos.
yeah, well, that's ask of not a former Rhino. When you're a Rhino for life. I think we got Coach 2 on the line as well. Let's look at this. Look at that man. You think we could use any of Tom Brady's ideas with the Rhinos there, Coach 2? Oh, one. Is he doing what we're doing now?
I think he's muted still.
Are you
on
muted?
his end.
Is he muted? I guess he can't tell. Man.
I'm good now, fellas. Sorry that working the Zoom off the phone is difficult. I'd be honest, Gary, I didn't hear anything you said about Tom Brady.
Do you think the Tom Brady way would work with the Rhinos?
I don't want to call anybody out, but I think John tried to do that, and then he got fed up and he quit managing. So
you just called him out by saying that.
Well, he knows that. We're all human beings. You try something, and if it doesn't work, and you get frustrated with it, you move on to something else. And he did that, and I think he knows why he did that. So it's fine. Rec baseball.
Rec baseball, baby. Yeah, in case you're wondering who the Rhinos are, they're the greatest rec baseball team in the history of Saskatoon to not win a title. That's who we are.
That's true. Came close a couple times.
Close. So close.
Here's one that the Rhinos could try that Brady did. So from time to time, he would offer his O linemen, he said, if we ever run a screen play where we get 15 yards or more, $1,000 each.
Money motivated.
So could that be like for every sack bunt or 2-out RBI, or when there's runners in scoring position RBIs with 2 outs, everybody gets a Labatt Light?
Yeah, high tension moments.
There you go.
How do you perform? Yeah. But then, what do you do with the rest of the guys who also would like a beverage after the game? You can't just take their beverages that they've already claimed just by being there.
It's true. Everyone gets one for being there, Gary, and then what AJ said, you got to earn the rest. Don't get caught on the bases.
Don't get thrown out, man. Don't
make bad base running decisions. I think a Belgian Moon would be the choice of beverage, AJ. That's what.
Okay. Times have changed.
I will also say, when you're coaching at first and you got one of the slowest guys in your team and you see a blooper drop just behind the second baseman, don't think that it'll take that second baseman so long to turn around, pick it up, and throw it to the shortstop at second and send your slowest guy. That was the last time I coached at first. It was a bad scene. Very upset.
That's exactly what we worked on Tuesday night at training.
Yeah. See, that's it. Yeah. Awareness, right?
Hey, the greatest, I think, AJ, we might have shared a video once, or maybe we didn't. I don't know. I've shared a lot of videos with a lot of people, but the Shohei Ohtani practicing rounding first base.
Oh, yeah.
Do that like 20 times in a row. Just his
path,
his running path. He'll just practice that from 10 feet out, and then you get a little bit bigger, and then he knows where he's at when he's running, and it's crazy to see. So yeah, it's not only getting the reps in, but then you still have to practice the basics to be elite. So you can't make a mistake on the basics. You gotta do the little things right all the time. And I think the great players do that. And I think that's why you get frustrated. I don't know if I came in the middle. So you're talking about Tom Brady. I don't know if you talked about the Connor McDavid meltdowns that have been happening.
You did.
Yeah. Okay. I just assumed based on where the conversation came from that it might have been there. But yeah, it's got to be frustrating when you're the greatest player in the world and you're looking over your shoulder and guys aren't doing the basics, right? You ask so much of yourself, you train so hard, you practice all on those little things, and then you expect your teammates to at least be able to do the basics, because if they do the basics, then you can win them hockey games. And that's all Tom Brady did. You guys do the basics. I'll do the tough lifting or the big lifting. But interesting that you guys talked about. Like
what Gary was saying before was, actually I forgot what Gary was saying before. That thought totally left my mind. But you did mention something like this, Gary, was so that example of Shohei or Tom Brady would be the same way. Michael Jordan was the same way, that these guys, it wasn't just natural talent. There's talent there, there's no doubt. But they were also known as some of the hardest working players of everybody around. So I think that's what really, and Tom Brady talks about this. He's like, you haven't planned for this. You're not prepared, and that's all on you. has nothing to do with talent. So just to think of that Shohei, who's just this freak athlete, amazing at what he does. Would anybody ever notice if he rounded first base the wrong way? Probably not. But because he works on that, he probably is going to get 2-3 extra bases every year. And imagine he's probably going, if I do that, Mookie does that, Freddie does that, Kiermaier does that now because he's in the playoffs. If all these guys are doing that, that's an extra 30 bases we get. That's an extra 8 runs. That might be an extra 3 or 4 runs.
And that's
what excellence is about.
And that goes back to leading by example, right? We hear it all the time. Well, he may not be a leader in the locker room, but he leads by example. We hear that over and over again to the point where it has no meaning anymore. So it's good to, reassess and understand that's what they're talking about. Is I don't have to talk to you. You just be around me and see how hard I work, and then you do the same. And if you don't, you'll be held accountable, and there will be problems.
Simple, right?
It's easy as possible. Whoever said sports was hard. Super easy.
Well, see, at some stage, maybe we talk about what John's frustrations were. Maybe he was expecting that, and people just didn't want to deliver.
There's a fine line, Coach number one, between playing rec sports and playing rec sports. And there's been a couple times in my recreational sporting life where those two paths have crisped and or crossed, and it's never good. Because if you have a team and like most of them aren't there to win a title, but you are, it's really tough to motivate people that just want to go out there, hang out with the boys, and slap some butts.
Well, and they're paying to play.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Right?
That's a really good point. So I've always been of the mind that I just want to hang out with the boys, like the locker room, the showers, all the stuff that's based around the actual playing of the sport that we're, attempting to play. I'm there for all that. Like the sports stuff is whatever. And sometimes that doesn't go over well.
I'm excited for, and that not even rec sports, people paying to play. We have children's sports too that we watch, and we get caught up into trying to gain wins as managers. And we've talked about this before, and you're a coach. What's the important thing is getting that title. And sure, it's going to be a sweet moment for the kids, but it's like, are you developing the whole way? Are you riding a couple strong kids or things like that? It goes the same way when you have adults paying for sports, and everyone's just there to chip in the best they can. And sometimes a hierarchy will kind of just happen. You'll have your stronger hitters, so everyone will agree. It's like, oh, maybe get him up a little bit more than me is okay. That might help us win, but I don't want to sit on the bench the whole time, right? So I'm excited for my older boy. Didn't make a team that we were hoping that he would. But at the same time, on a development standpoint, I get to coach. I'm pretty fair with everybody, but I know that he's in a spot where he can succeed. And really maybe that might motivate him even more to succeed if he has more, not even opportunity, just more space on the ice this year. So I'm excited to see how that year kind of transpires as well. So
okay, I'll leave you guys with this because we're up against the clock here. But I will tell you, I coached one season of Cut League basketball in the beautiful city of Saskatoon. I coached the No Berries, and the Cut League is all the high school kids in the city who didn't make their senior team. So they formed a league for these guys, and they called it the Cut League because they all got cut. And as the head coach of the No Berries, we were undefeated halfway through the season, and I had a couple of parents come up to me. Again, hilarious that I'm even coaching. I was a year older than all the guys on the team, so I was just coaching all my buddies, and it was every Saturday morning. Like half the time, we'd roll in there still lit up from the night before. Don't ever be like us. It was a different time. Whatever you need to say right now to make this okay. It was dumb, but we would show up. And one of the parents came and said to me, Gary, I've noticed you haven't been playing our sons very much. There was 2 boys. And I said, yeah. How do you feel about it? I said, well, we'd like to see them play more. I said, okay. And this was during halftime. So I went back to the bench and I looked at the whole team. I said, guys, here's the deal. These 2 guys right here, and we're not going to use any names, but I said, these 2 guys right here, your parents want you to play more.
We're not going to use names, or you're going to use names?
No names. No names. He said to these two brothers, said, your parents want you to play more. What do you want to do? And they both looked at me, looked at the team, and said, we want to win, Coach Gary. And I said, okay, well, make sure you tell your parents that because they're going to be pissed. Like, no, that's fine. Just let the kids decide. And it worked. And I didn't talk to the parents again. And everyone was happy because those kids wanted to win more than to play, which I always thought was weird, but something for you to take home from that. And that was the only time I ever coached anything. And we won the city title, by the way. So there was that.
Did you have anyone named Barry on the team?
No. The funny part was Barry Rollick was the coach of the Holy Cross team, and our starting five was from Holy Cross, so they wanted to name the team No Berries because Coach Barry Rollick cut all of them, so they named the team. I had nothing to do with me, so I can say that. That's one name that got dropped. But the funnier part is we actually lined up a game with the senior team at Holy Cross, and it was during lunchtime at Holy Cross School, and we were up by, I think it was like 4 points with like half a minute to go, and the coach of the other team decided to cancel the game and say, oh, we're out of time, actually, we can't finish now. So the game went as incomplete instead of a victory for the cut team against what I'm assuming they went on to be city and possibly provincial champions. So we had ourselves a team there with the No Berries.
That's good coaching. That's good coaching, Geza.
You know, it's all about the glory days, right? That's what we do here. Coach number one all the way from the other side of the world in beautiful Australia. Coach number two from what looks like his office. Thank you so much for joining us each and every Wednesday, fellas. I really look forward to it. And thank you for powering through those charades there, AJ, off the top, as that was a lot of fun as well. You guys have yourself a great day. Woo! We did it, buddy. Phenom, how you holding up in there? Let's see that hand. You still alive? You still alive? Where's he at? There he is. Thank goodness. All right. The reason we were up against the clock is because we got some previously recorded segments to get to, including a rider recap with our favorite rider insider. Let's go ahead and roll that one now, buddy. We're number one. We're number one. Well, I guess we're number two.
We're number two.
Number two, but we're in the playoffs. And we know that because our rider insider is here. And I meant by in the playoffs with a home playoff game. LB is in the house. You know him as the co-host of The Viewing Room, as well, the face that built the place, Mr. Producer, all these important things. But the biggest one is he is the one that tells us how good the Saskatchewan Roughriders are. LB. How's it going, buddy?
They're about as good as this pie.
Ooh, I hear that's a 12 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah.
That pie literally brought families together. Mm-hmm. Generations, dare I say. Decades of human beings coming together with the common goal of creating one incredible pumpkin cream pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did a little taste test. You'll probably see that. You may have seen it already. Oh, look at that flashback. That was good. That was weird. Anyways, you may have seen it already. Well, no, because this will be on the show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You might have seen this pre-tapes. Depending on which order we go. Either way, there's been a lot of pie being eaten today in celebration of locking down that home playoff game. The coveted game, the biggest game you can get when it comes to the CFL. And they did it in style, my friend.
Yeah, it was.
Wowzers.
It's like, you know, that Edmonton game, we were like, okay, we have a shot, but like, we're going to have to work for it. And then they come out of the gate and just pummeled BC.
Unbelievable.
It was. And like it wasn't one of those games where it's like BC lost that. This was the Riders won.
Straight up, right off the bat.
Things came together and we won.
That interception off the top. Oh, of course, it's Roland Milligan right in the middle of it, keeping the ball alive after it kicks up like it's a frickin' hacky sack in California games. Dude grabs it, touchdown. Riders up 7-0. What was it, like a minute in?
Not even, basically, right?
Like
it was the first play after the kick return. Yeah,
like, first play of the game.
It was, yeah.
So you set the tone there, and then you just keep going and keep going. Now, was this more of a Nathan Rourke taking a step back, or would you say this is the Rider defense saying, hello, playoffs, we're here, and we are ready?
It's a combination of both.
I think so.
He wasn't looking phenomenal.
He was looking beatable. Hey?
Yeah.
Like he did not look good.
He wasn't looking good, but the Riders were looking good. So sometimes it's hard to tell, right? Was he looking bad because the Riders were playing well, or was it the other way around?
Somewhere in the middle is usually what it is.
Right.
So with Rourke coming out, and then they pull him, and they don't put in Vernon Adams.
No, they put in the third stringer, which makes sense because they pulled him late enough in the game that, like, they lost it. By that point, they had to score like 32 points in
Yeah, they waved
10
the white
minutes.
flag. They were
They're like,
saying we're done.
we're just
Yeah,
saving our
that's
and
true.
just see what this kid can do, because I don't think he's had any play time yet. So send him out there, and I mean, he did more in one drive than Rourke did in like a whole quarter. Like,
But
I
that's
think he
also because the Rider defense has also packed it in. They're like, okay, we'll just play some
did right,
prevent.
but I think he got 93 yards in one
well,
drive.
that's
Like,
good. We call that mop-up duty. In the fantasy sports world, that's garbage time, and that's where you get most of your points. When the defense knows the game's over, so they just let you dink and dunk down, and then that's where it all. And you end up with a big play on paper like that. So it is weird that, and this has been making the rounds on the social media, and I hate saying that because I've seen some social media. But the Riders getting amped up, or not the Riders, BC, the Lions getting amped up for the game. Vernon Adams is the guy in there. So, come on, guys, let's go. We got to do this. We got to do that. And in the background is the starting quarterback, Nathan Rourke. Like, what's up with that? Is that not sort of an FU to him?
I don't know. To me, it's like, they spent $750,000 to bring this guy back because he went to the NFL and they thought he was great. They thought he could get back to what he was prior to going to the NFL. Yeah. But I mean, the guy hasn't played in 2 years, And so I think next year we'll see. Next year will be really telling.
Do you think they'll get rid of one of those guys?
No.
But they can't be happy together, right?
Well, they're going to stick with the 2 and C.
Okay. I guess it is always the good problem to have.
That's my opinion, is that they're going to keep the 2 of them in there, and then they're going to start with Nathan Rourke next season. And if he shits the bed, then they're going to pull him, get rid of him, or put in Vernon Adams or whoever. And that's where they're going to go. Because they have 2 what really should be phenomenal quarterbacks. Really so they would be stupid to get rid of one of them, in my opinion.
Wasn't Vernon Adams like the best quarterback in the league for a while this year?
Well, he was. Until
It's so silly. Okay, so home playoff game wrapped up, finishing second place. Yes. What's left for the Riders to prove? What do they got to do here before the playoffs start?
Well, we're playing Calgary. So...
And they're out, I heard, officially.
Oh, yeah. Both Edmonton and Calgary were out last week. They are out of the playoffs. And so I'm not too worried. Like, the only thing really what we're fighting for, we've guaranteed second place. So the only thing that we're fighting for is first place now.
So that's still up there.
Yeah, because the Bombers are playing the Alouettes. They lost their last game. So the Bombers are playing the Alouettes this week. And so if they lose and we win, then we're first place.
So there's still a lot to play
for. There's still a lot to play for. And I think it's going to depend more on whether or not the Alouettes lose, because I think our chances of beating Calgary are pretty good, especially since we have a bye week. We have a bye, and then we play Calgary.
No way. So they're going to go bye week,
and then play the worst team in the league.
And then if they win and Winnipeg lose, have another bye week.
Yes.
So they could have, they'll be fresh. Now,
this could be really good.
And I hate to be the cog here, baseball is a perfect example of this, hockey as well. The hottest team going into the playoffs is the one that does the most damage. The New York Mets were literally out of the playoffs. They had like a 6% or 7% chance of making it at some point in like August. They went on, like Grimace. There's a crazy story. Grimace from McDonald's, he was at a game. He threw out a first pitch, and all of a sudden the Mets started winning. So they were like, Grimace is he's like our new mascot. So Grimace was powering the Mets. And they actually snuck in on the final day and like the final moments of like the regular season. And then they went on as the 6th seed to crush 2 teams, and now they're playing for the division final against the Dodgers. They lost like 9-0. They're going to get blown out. But the fact that the hottest team is always coming in those last 2 positions, and they have all the momentum.
Yeah, right.
All of it. So if you're sitting out and you're getting cold, hockey as well, all those top teams that get the buys, they come in cold. So there's something to be said about that, and I don't know which way to go now. It's almost like the momentum side is winning. So getting that win at home, which it would be anyway, and then rallying that over to the next game, I think would be more beneficial. But you also want to heal all your guys, right?
I think the bye week is more important for this team, especially with players like Ouellette and Trevor Harris, right? Like especially him, he's getting older, and like he took a nasty hit last game. And so I think it for this team in particular, having that rest is important.
Okay, so that's what we're aiming for.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I want, and also it's less games, and that's important too. Yeah, right.
Especially this time of year. That's why the argument always goes: do you want the momentum, or do you want everyone playing at 100% or as close as they could be?
Yeah.
Very interesting times here in Riderville. So we got a week off. Do we even know the date? It seems so
October
far away.
26th at 5 p.m.
He did his research.
Yeah.
Man, home or in Cowtown?
I am honestly.
He almost did all of his homework.
Almost.
That's okay. We like that. Okay, so until then, well, I guess when's that When's that Winnipeg game? Is that this week?
I don't remember.
Okay, never mind.
It's confusing. It's confusing because there's some teams have a bye and some it gets.
I'm with you.
End of the season,
It gets messy, and that's fine. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the co-host of The Viewing Room. A new episode dropping today.
Yeah.
Amazing. What show are we doing?
This one will be Batman. The 1989 Batman with Michael
The
Keaton.
only one, the best one. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? He co-hosts with The Dragon, who is producing this right now. It's an incredible show. Be sure to check it out as well. He's the face of Built the Place and our Rider Insider, getting us ready for those playoffs and maybe a couple games away from a trip to Vancouver. We'll see how it all goes.
We'll see.
Thank you so much, brother. So when you forget to play or run out of time and bump the segment of the face that's built the place, that runs the place, our sweet, beautiful LB, you make sure you play it the next day. So Viewing Room, new episode dropped yesterday when that was supposed to play. But yet here we are. It's still out there and it's still on the greatest Batman film of all time as we continue on the Wednesday edition of your show. I want to give a shout out to our buddy Dax and the team over at PropertyGuys.com. As not only will they guide you through the buying process, they will also receive a rebate from the earned commission. You will, from the earned commission, and so much more. So be sure to say hello to them as well. Going on, I want to say a very special hello to our friends at Nickel Plumbing and Heating, doing great things. Our friends over at SCS Concrete Services, as well as the Tooth Booth. I just booked my appointment with Dr. Funkhauser over at the Big Tooth on 2nd Ave. You can't really see. I always look up here because we got the big sign right there. Very cute. So October, I think it's like 28th, I'm going in to see Dr. Funkhauser after being like 17 months late for a checkup or whatever it is. So we'll look forward to that. As well, new episode of the Bamford & Co. podcast is up for you to enjoy, and a brand new episode. Well, it's not really brand new. It's the throwback versions, but we've started a new show called Slice by Slice with Asher, an amazing pizza review show, and we have a new to us version that is out now that you can also enjoy over at the YouTube page as well as the website, dufferinav.com. You know where to go to enjoy all those amazing things. How are we looking in there, Phenom? So funny. Seeing just a hand float around and give you one of those. Very cool. Let's go ahead and see what's coming up next. What else do we got to do today? The quest continues to bring music back to Broadway, and a big, big part of that is our friends over at Bloom Entertainment as well as the 3 Hall Public House, as they have an open mic night, 6 to 9 on Friday as well. They have a stage for all sorts of musicians to take on Saturday and continue to perform and crush it over there. And we got another one here with us today. Tell us who you are and what's going on, my friend.
Sure. My name's Pete Oldridge. Hi, everybody. I'm from a group called The Great Fuss, and we've been around in Saskatoon since about, 2015 or something. Feel weird. I came over in this dress shirt from work. I feel like I'm here to sell insurance or something, or like.
You look great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You look like a person who means business, unlike me.
Can I tell you a little something about the word of the Lord? No, I'm just kidding.
Do you know our religion? We have a very strict rule. I was just talking about this.
What is it?
No politics and no religion.
But those are the best topics.
Exactly. And
You
they
can
get
really
the most
dig in.
clicks. And that's the problem. Everyone here says, we got to be political. We got to be religious. And I say, what's the common denominator of all that? Well, people get angry. And that's why it's all like rage clicks and stuff. I'm like, you guys, the second you start doing something for clicks, you're done. Be about yourself.
That's true.
And that's sort of the message that we put out.
Yeah.
That's how that sort of came
Okay,
about.
very cool. Very
The
cool.
Great Fuss, a band that we all know around here. My buddy Ugly Kid Joel with Hometown Rock is always talking about how much he loves The Great Fuss.
Oh, that's very nice.
And you guys are making some rounds here. So
Yeah.
you're doing a solo thing? Is that
Well,
what's
no,
happening? You
actually.
guys-
So this is
Here we
it's
go.
not a
Thank
solo.
you.
It's actually it's going to be, I think, kind of a full band thing over at 3 Hall, and it's going to be all acoustic. So I think we're going to have definitely acoustic guitars. We'll have djembe. We might even have like an acoustic bass. There might be an accordion. I'm not sure yet.
Oh,
We're gonna
come
see.
on. I've been saying for years, bring back the accordion. It can't
Yeah.
just be Weird Al. That's the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
guy who's ever allowed to play it.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
So I would
Why?
love to see that.
Yeah, it'd be lots of fun.
So we got you guys coming through. Talk a little bit about what you guys are up to as a band and how people
Sure.
can get in touch with you and sort of promote you, because this is your
Okay,
stage.
okay,
Let's get you out
okay,
there.
Okay, sure. So I guess this most recent, or a few of the recent things, in the spring, I was able to go down to Providence, Rhode Island, and work with Jim Eno from Spoon. Spoon is like my favorite band since I was like 18 years old.
Hold on. How the hell does that happen?
Well, Instagram.
Of course, the
Yeah.
internet.
I just sent him a message and said, I love what you're doing down in your studio. And so I sent him, he said, send me some stuff. And so I did. And he's like, yeah, well, we can work together. So that was an honor for me that he would want to
Absolutely.
do that. And oh, what a great experience. We got to, I'm such a nerd for all the gear too.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like,
You're right
you know,
in there.
It was awesome.
Admiring.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
to have my stuff mixed through the same stuff that they mixed all their records
Yeah.
on was
Like your heroes.
yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so that was great. And then, yeah, we promoted our first single, It Isn't Criminal. We got like 3 spins on Rock 102.
There we go.
Thanks, Joel.
Yes, I love Joel
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Yeah.
He's a member of our family, so we always promote him. And he's
awesome.
like the best dude ever. So
Yeah.
he's always pushing. And that's how, whenever I see, and that's the funny part about you coming in blind, is we had 2 recordings today.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, the mystery man's here. And then the second I heard, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because Joel lets us all know about these bands in town. So
Yeah,
he's-
which is
he's the
great.
man.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
really crushing it. So
Yeah, so then this past summer we did lots of festivals and that was lots of fun. And now fall, we've got some things coming up in Edmonton again. I think we've got a show. Oh, one cool thing that I'll mention.
Here we go.
If anybody likes the Beatles,
oh boy,
okay,
I've heard of them.
We're doing on January 3rd. The Great Fuss is doing the entirety of Rubber Soul live, sort of like note for note recreation of the album at the Basement. And it's going to be like really fun. We've already started kind of getting things together.
How hard is something like that to do?
And,
Because it's like a tribute, right? Because obviously
Yeah.
you love it so much that you
Yeah.
want to like show
You
the
wanna-
world, look
yeah,
how
exactly.
awesome this is.
so we're not like dressing up or anything. It's more
Yeah.
just like try and make it sound the way we. And for me, it's like the attention to detail is important.
Absolutely.
And so it is challenging. I've actually done it a couple times though. So I did
Oh,
it a
jeez.
couple of years ago, and yeah,
So
actually
you got it.
well,
Yeah.
no, not entirely. There's always refinements, you know.
And that's a great point. You'll never actually have it because,
yeah.
you know, it's the Beatles.
Yeah.
But you can
it'll-
always strive.
It'll get very close.
Absolutely.
I gotta say, I love your space. By the way, this is so
thank you
cool.
very
How
much.
awesome that you've created this kind of forum for people. And
It's,
Yeah.
and I always say this is what happens, and it starts out sounding dark, but bear with me. This is what
Please,
happens
please.
when you lose the big 3, is what I call it. You
Let's
lose
hear
the
it.
job, the family, and the house.
okay.
And when that happens,
And you lost
and
all 3?
all 3 at the same time,
Holy.
all at once. And
I
it
almost
was
said
it wasn't bad in that like it was unexpected or anything. Everything I knew was going to happen. It was just I was sort of waiting.
Yeah.
And then once it all happens, you say, "Oh, okay. Well, there's 2 ways to go from here. You can either go all the way down, or you can go up."
Yeah.
And I said, "I've done the radio thing. I gave over half my life to radio,
Commercial radio.
yeah, and got me nowhere. And I tried to live the life in the house with like the stepkids and that
Mm-hmm.
didn't work. So I said, you know what? I'm done trying to do like the normal thing. I said, I want to do something to give back to the people that helped pick me back up when I was all the way down.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could think of was building a place where people could come and promote what they're doing
That's awesome.
and create a place where we can all chase sort of our dreams together.
Yeah.
And that's basically all this is. And
That's
you,
wonderful.
you cannot build, and this is what I learned, if you are all about yourself, you cannot build something like this. Because this has been built through, like, literally every important person in my life has helped out some sort of way in this,
Yeah.
like over the last whatever years it's been.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have those connections, and if you weren't a good person, you can't do this.
Well, that's it.
And especially, and the other reason I say the big 3 is you get money from a house and you get money from a severance.
Yeah.
And then you just put it all back in and say, let's help each other.
Yep. Awesome. So
And
that's
now
kind of
we're
where
here.
you're at now.
That's
then.
it. So now I call it like a rehab facility for people in media,
Oh.
but also a great place for bands to come and promote themselves because that's all I ever wanted to do to begin with.
Oh yeah, that was the driving force originally.
And that was it. So to be able to
Which
do
is
it now.
so hard to do on commercial radio because it's all just like top-down driven. You know, I don't need to hear
There's a-
patio lanterns again in my life.
There's a reason why
Sorry-
we
sorry, Kim
praise.
Mitchell.
And I love the Mitchell too. I'm with you, but I love the Mitchell. But sometimes it gets a little much. That's why we praise Ugly Kid Joel so much because
Yeah.
he's taken sort of, like I went to bat for that to the point where I wouldn't even ask anymore. I just put my friends' bands on and get yelled at after. And it, again, not the best choice career-wise, and it led to where we are. But at the same time, to have Joel come in and just absolutely dominate something that we were trying to do for so long is just so proud of him because he's
awesome.
he's that in between, just like Saul and Kinger with Bloom Entertainment, that in between to help people.
Yeah.
And one more before we let you go, because we're a little long here, but I want you to talk about the importance of open mics and getting your reps in and being around similar-minded people.
Well, when I think about just my own music career, which now I'm an old man, but
it happens quick, eh? Yeah, I know. I'm noticing that too.
But when I first started, I'm from Ontario.
Oh shit!
And I didn't know we could say shit.
Yeah.
I held it back earlier. But, okay.
We tried to swear too much, but that's the good thing about YouTube is they don't get angry.
They don't care. Okay.
Yeah.
When I first started out, that was all I did to meet people, right? Like in order to find a band and all that, it's like it's important to expose yourself to lots of people. Yeah. I mean, musically.
Yeah, of course.
It's important to do that. And so that's part of it is the connections. And part of it is also, as you say, it's the reps of getting out there and playing in front of people. Yeah. That like for me, even then coming to Saskatoon is the same thing. I moved 11 years ago. I came to town. I started meeting people. Kind of ended up where I'm at now with my band, and it's been just a key step for me.
Absolutely.
Playing those open mics. Yeah.
Where can people find all your stuff? Let's promote you.
Oh, sure. Please follow Instagram. It'd be really nice to have more than we have because I'm not good at promotion. I don't care, but I do.
I just had a conversation about this too, about how I despise being told what to do when people say, hey, hit that button, go in like this and do that, right? And that stuff just rubs me the wrong way. So it's always been an ongoing thing about how to remind people to support without demanding, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so same boat, it's the same thing.
It is hard.
It's so hard. But that's why we're here, because people know if they see you and they like you, and this is always my thing. If I like what you're doing, I'll do all those things you want me to do. You don't got to tell me to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's sort of the idea being.
They haven't heard me maybe yet, so
this is it.
What's the expression is talking about music is like dancing about architecture. So talking about it isn't really anything. But if you're interested in checking it out, The Great Fuss on Instagram, but also thegreatfuss.com or CA, whatever. I think we have both.
Support. That's what we're saying. Support good people like this man right here. Thank you so much, brother. Best of luck to you this weekend.
Thanks so much.
We will hopefully see you again real soon.
Sounds great.
This sort of 3-hall, I guess, partnership that we've started with our friends over at 3-hall Public House and Kinger and Soul with Bloom Entertainment. I knew it would be really cool. I didn't know how much fun it would be to talk to all of these musicians who are, trying to push themselves and trying to raise the bar as far as the local music scene goes. And it's almost like a rally cry. And every single one that comes through here now, including Pete with the Great Fuss, incredible dude, by the way. At the end there sort of sounded like I was in some therapy talking about my issues. But it's true in a way where the world is so different now. And how you get your stuff out there is so different. And just the fact that there is an unplugged open mic every Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. for you to enjoy at 3-hall. It gives you so many options. It brings music back to Broadway. It allows you to take a date night and be done by 9:30 and have an incredible, incredible evening with great food and music. And then you also get the concert on the Saturday. And Pete is a really, really good dude. That's one of the things I've forgot since I've sort of left the music world around here and moved into this new sort of place. And it's something I'm really appreciating now, is how cool and kind and fun all the people are in this local music scene of ours in Saskatoon. And without our partnership with Bloom Entertainment and 3-hall, that would never have happened. Because, we all have our buddies in our bands. We all got the Matt Cuthbertson, we got those guys that we know and they have the band here and there. But to be able to see different bands from different sort of backgrounds all coming together with a common goal being bringing music back, allowing us to enjoy music, going out and making it part of your day is just so darn cool. So thank you again to Pete there. Another great, great interview in our 3-hall interview series. I wonder if that might be another thing. We're sort of working on putting, I guess, playlists together of different things, like Matt Young from CTV, his controller and console and game restoration and upkeep series we've been doing every Thursday, putting something like that on a playlist for you so you could go there and just enjoy each one of those videos. Maybe we'll do the 3-hall interviews as well on a sort of playlist like that, because I think that would be something that was very, very enjoyable if you want to go down a little rabbit hole and see sort of the progression of this open mic night. Because like, it's tough to get in now, man. You try to sign up for an open mic night, it's full by like Tuesday. So it's very cool to see that one taking off. And I always love meeting all these great, great people, including not a human, but a hand. That hand being the Phenom, and that hand is about to hit Frankie's fingers. Watch this. Like, you can't even write that. Hey, give yourself a thumbs up, bud. It was good. Well done. I wonder, do you have a costume? Is there a costume for that hand? Do you dress up at all? Can you be the hamburger helper? The hamburger helper guy for Halloween? Oh, come on, dude. It's my favorite food. It's the best food group ever. It's just a box of meat. And it tastes so good. All right, well, I'll come up with some sort of hand costume for you. What a time. What a time yet again. Thank you to Coach 1 and Coach 2 for kicking the show off today. Absolutely fantastic as always. As well, thank you to LB for pre-taping that on Monday with me. And then getting mad at us yesterday for not playing it and then playing it today. The point of that whole thing was the Riders have clinched second place and they still have a chance for first. So we will keep you posted on that as they got a bye week before they get back at it with the final game of the regular season next week. As well to our buddy Pete in the Great Fuss. Thank you, brother. That was a fantastic interview. Very grateful that you had the time to come by and say hello and promote yourself and everything you're doing with your band, The Great Fuss. So good. So see them Saturday night. They'll also be doing a couple songs in the Unplugged open mic night on the Friday over at 3 Hall Public House. Enjoy that, all right? I'm telling you, live music, there's nothing like it. I'm this close to getting live music in here. I think we're going to start ending shows with live music. We'll see. Maybe we can get someone to play this live. Either way, we'll be back tomorrow with Matt Young from CTV and so much more. Brooksy's going to stop by. It'll be very fun. We'll check in with her as she's got some more updates from her Facebook stats from years ago. We make fun of her for it. They're very good. Remember, karma is very, 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 very real. Okay? Do good things, and you'll notice good things will start happening to you. I'm not saying that in a preachy way. I'm saying that as a person who's literally living it right now. Once you start doing good things, things like this just sort of become a real thing. So take that for what it is. To all the boys in the Fat Tito Ultimate Draft tonight, we'll see you at the Cave, 8:30. Hopefully George has that pizza ready to go. I feel like I could take down a caveman pizza tonight. And if any of the boys are watching, I call the seat closest to the table with the pizza. All right? Sounds good. Have an incredible rest of your hump day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. You take care. Well done, Phenom.